How did a simple answer from Einstein help spread the thinking of one of history's most influential philosophers across the entire world? When asked if he believed in God, Albert Einstein responded that he believed in Spinoza's God. This enigmatic answer sparked curiosity in many people and brought to light the profound philosophical reflections of Baruch Spinoza about the nature of God and the universe. Einstein's mention of Spinoza, one of the most brilliant scientific minds in history, put the spotlight on a philosopher whose ideas continue to challenge and inspire us to this day. Spinoza set out to think about one of the most complex questions in the history of human thought. What is God? In an era marked by rigid religious doctrines and persecution, Spinoza dared to offer a vision of God that transcended traditional conceptions. He proposed that God was not an anthropomorphic being, that is, with human characteristics, but nature itself, an omnipresent force inherent in everything that exists. This revolutionary approach not only challenged established beliefs but also offered a new perspective for understanding divinity and existence. Given the sensitivity of this subject, it's important to emphasize that this video has no intention of questioning any religion. Our goal is to offer tools that allow for a better understanding of Spinoza's thinking and his vision of God.
This content does not reflect the creator's personal opinion, but rather an analysis of Spinoza's ideas. We invite you to keep an open mind and feel free to question or agree with what will be presented. By examining Spinoza's ideas, we'll see how his philosophy can help us reflect on fundamental questions about our existence and our understanding of the divine. Prepare yourself for an intellectual deep dive that challenges conventions and invites us to see the world through a new lens. Let's understand why Spinoza's ideas continue to resonate so strongly even today. To understand Spinoza's philosophy, it's essential to grasp the intellectual and cultural context of the time in which he lived. In the 17th century, two philosophical currents dominated European thought: empiricism and rationalism. Empiricism, defended by philosophers like John Locke and Francis Bacon, claimed that knowledge derives from sensory experience. In contrast, rationalism, promoted by René Descartes and Thomas Hobbes, held that reason was the primary source of knowledge. Spinoza was strongly influenced by rationalism, especially by Descartes' deductive method, which sought to build knowledge from evident and unquestionable principles. Spinoza lived in a time of great political and social upheaval. The Holy Office Tribunal, better known as the Inquisition, exercised rigorous control over religious and philosophical thought in Europe.
In the Netherlands, where Spinoza spent most of his life, there was relative religious tolerance, though it wasn't free from conflicts. The Netherlands was a refuge for many thinkers persecuted in other countries. But even so, ideas that challenged religious orthodoxy could lead to severe consequences. During that period, the conception of God was deeply influenced by Christian doctrines. God was seen as a personal, anthropomorphic being with human characteristics who governed the universe and intervened in human history. Scientific personalities like Galileo Galilei, Nicolaus Copernicus, and Johannes Kepler faced persecution due to their discoveries that contradicted biblical interpretations of the cosmos. Threats and censorship were common for those who dared to question the dominant vision of God and the universe. Spinoza, being of Jewish origin, also faced his own set of challenges. He was excommunicated by the Jewish community of Amsterdam for his heterodox ideas and consequently changed his name. Adopting the name Benedictus de Spinoza, he lived a relatively isolated life, dedicating himself to his studies and writing. His main work, Ethics, was not published during his lifetime, possibly to avoid persecution. This treatise, written in the form of propositions and demonstrations, systematically presents his ideas about God nature, and humanity. The Catholic Church had a list of forbidden books, and many of Spinoza's works were among them.
The Church's control over what could be read or discussed was a way to maintain orthodoxy and prevent the spread of ideas considered heretical. Spinoza, aware of the risks, carefully chose how and when to divulge his ideas. Ethics was only published posthumously, allowing his ideas to reach a wider audience but also protecting Spinoza from the direct repercussions of his works during his lifetime. In the midst of this environment of persecution and censorship, Spinoza's concept of God stood out as a radically different vision. To understand Spinoza's concept of God, it's fundamental to begin with an intriguing connection to religious tradition. In the Bible, in Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, when Moses asks God what he should tell the Israelites about who sent him, God responds, "I am that I am." This declaration can be interpreted in various ways, but Spinoza connects it directly with his own vision of God as the essence of everything that exists. For him, God was not an entity separated from the world, but the very substance from which all things are made. Throughout history, each culture has developed its own image of God, reflecting its cultural and social characteristics. For example, Asian gods have Eastern features, while African deities have dark skin, and Nordic gods are frequently portrayed as blonde. Spinoza questions this anthropomorphic tendency by asking, did God create man in his image and likeness? Or did man create God in his image and likeness?
He suggests that humans project their own characteristics and limitations onto their conceptions of divinity, creating gods in their own image. Think about this for a moment. What if our conception of God says more about us than about God itself? Spinoza argues that God must be understood not as an anthropomorphic figure, but as nature itself. The 20th century philosopher, Alan Watts, who brought Eastern philosophy to the West, expressed a similar idea when he said, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." This captures perfectly Spinoza's vision that each of us, each thing that exists, is an expression of the divine whole. Spinoza uses the example of the triangle to illustrate his idea. Just as the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is always 180 degrees, regardless of the size or shape of the triangle, God is a universal constant that permeates everything. For Spinoza, God is both the creator and the creation, a unifying force that sustains all things. As Spinoza wrote in his Ethics, whatever is in God, and nothing can exist or be conceived without God. This pantheistic vision, which understands the profound unity that permeates the interconnection of things, beings, atoms, carbon, and human perception, differs radically from the traditional conception of God as a separate and transcendent being.
Spinoza's pantheism, the idea that God and nature are one and the same, was a revolutionary conception. He believed that everything in the universe is an expression of God, and that nothing can exist or be conceived outside of God. All things that exist in God, and without God nothing can exist or be conceived, he affirmed. This vision of God as an immanent and omnipresent force was an inspiration for later philosophers like Nietzsche and Schopenhauer, who also saw a deeper understanding of existence and nature. But here's a fascinating question. Is there a similarity between what Christians seek and what science seeks in explaining the world and finding greater meaning? Spinoza saw science as a way to understand the nature of God, and his ideas were frequently misinterpreted as atheism. Although he never preached the non-existence of God, his redefinition of divinity as nature led many to condemn him. For Spinoza, understanding nature was understanding God, a vision that challenged both established religion and the emerging science of his time. Modern science, when exploring the composition of the universe, frequently points out that our bodies contain stardust. Though Carl Sagan wasn't a philosopher, he popularized this scientific concept that resonates deeply with Spinoza's vision, that we are all part of something greater.
This interconnection between science and religion was something Spinoza anticipated, and it's perhaps one of the reasons why Einstein admired his philosophy so much. When Einstein said he believed in Spinoza's God, he was referring to this impersonal, universal force, not a God who intervenes in human affairs or answers prayers, but the fundamental order and harmony of the universe itself. Einstein once wrote, "I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the harmony of all that exists, not in a God who concerns himself with the fate and actions of human beings." Spinoza offers a bridge between science, which studies the physical, and religion, which contemplates what lies beyond the physical. Can you see how Spinoza attempted to unite science and religion, proposing that both are forms of seeking truth about the universe and our existence? While science provides us with tools to understand the physical world, religion, according to Spinoza, should help us understand what transcends the physical. This integrated vision challenges the traditional dichotomy between science and faith, suggesting that both can coexist and complement each other in the pursuit of knowledge and truth. The relationship between body and soul has always been a central theme in philosophy. Socrates, for example, affirmed, "Know thyself, and you will know the gods and the universe."
This phrase demonstrates the belief that self-knowledge is the path to understanding both the divine and the world around us. Plato and Aristotle also dedicated part of their works to this question, though with different perspectives. Plato saw the body as a prison for the soul, which yearns for liberation and return to the world of ideas. Aristotle, on the other hand, considered the soul as the form of the body, an inseparable entity that gives life and purpose to the human being. Later, Descartes introduced dualism, the idea that mind and body are distinct substances. He argued that the mind or soul was an immaterial substance that interacted with the material body. This dualistic vision strongly influenced Christian thought, which came to see God as a judge who judges the soul separately from the body. This perspective was widely used by the Church as a political weapon to control people's behavior. Spinoza, however, broke with this dualistic tradition. For him, there is no superiority of soul over body. Both are manifestations of a single substance, which is God or nature. Spinoza argued that body and mind are two ways of perceiving the same reality, two sides of the same coin. There is no division between the physical and the spiritual, and true understanding of our existence involves recognizing this unity.
This monistic vision challenges the notion that the soul is superior to the body, proposing instead that both are equally important and interdependent. Here's a powerful question for you to consider. If body and soul are truly one, how does this change the way you should treat your physical health and mental well-being? Leave your answer in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to hear your perspective on this. Spinoza believed that we are expressions of the divine and that we exist in the only way we could be. He rejected the idea of a God who judges and punishes, seeing God as an impersonal force that permeates the entire universe. For Spinoza, living in accordance with nature and understanding our true essence is the path to freedom and happiness. He saw knowledge and understanding of our own nature as the way to achieve inner peace and harmony with the universe. This vision of body and soul as inseparable and equally valuable offers a more holistic perspective on human existence. It invites us to value both the physical and mental aspects of our lives, recognizing that both are necessary for a full and meaningful life. By understanding that we are an expression of the divine, we can begin to see ourselves and the world around us with more compassion and respect, embracing our true nature and living in harmony with the universe. Spinoza's philosophy invites us to reflect deeply on the nature of social morality and how it can bind man and prevent truth.
Spinoza argued that social conventions often serve to keep people in a state of conformity, limiting their capacity to seek truth and live according to their true nature. By questioning these norms and challenging authority, he demonstrated that morality should not be dictated by dogmas or traditions, but should emerge from rational understanding and knowledge of nature. One of Spinoza's greatest contributions was his attempt to prove the fundamental equality among all human beings and to discourage the idolatry of man. He saw the tendency to idolize leaders and authority figures as a barrier to true freedom and self-sufficiency. In his writings, Spinoza constantly emphasized that all human beings are expressions of the same divine substance and therefore equal in essence. This vision challenged the social and religious hierarchies of his time, promoting a more democratic and inclusive view of humanity. Alan Watts echoed this sentiment centuries later when he said, "We do not come into this world. We come out of it, as leaves from a tree." This beautifully captures Spinoza's view that we are not separate from the universe or from each other. We are all manifestations of the same whole. Think about the world we live in today. How many of our social rules and moral expectations actually serve our authentic selves? And how many simply maintain systems of control? Spinoza's philosophy challenges us to reconsider our own lives and the values we follow.
Are we living according to our true nature, or are we being shaped by external expectations and pressures? Spinoza encourages us to seek truth within ourselves and to live authentically, free from the chains of social morality. His vision of God as nature itself and his defense of the unity between body and soul offer us an integrative perspective that values both the physical and spiritual aspects of our existence. When we break free from the idolatry of leaders and the conformity of social morality, we open ourselves to a more genuine understanding of what it means to be human. We recognize that our worth doesn't come from our position in social hierarchies, but from our very existence as expressions of the divine. I invite you to reflect on Spinoza's ideas and how they might influence your vision of the world. Think about the way you live your life and the norms you follow. Are they aligned with your true essence? Do you see yourself as separate from nature or as an expression of it? Share your reflections in the comments and join this philosophical discussion. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Spinoza's revolutionary ideas, subscribe to the channel for more content that helps us question and better understand the world around us. Spinoza's philosophy continues to inspire and challenge, offering a bridge between science and spirituality, reason and faith. What philosopher should we explore next? Let me know in the comments.
Until the next video.